powered by Riverside.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sad Fit, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made us sad. It has been so busy, especially with the NFL and college football and personal travel for a couple of us, contractor work for another one of us. It's hard to keep up almost at this point that our production meetings are now going a little bit longer because we're trying to remember everything that we wanted to talk about from the week. This one almost slipped my mind, but I guess we'll start where we always start, what made us sad. And I'm really glad I decided to look into what we were talking about all week. And I forgot that the Air Force got punished for recruiting violations. And I find that comical and sad because how can you be the Air Force and get hit with recruiting violations, and then you read it's because they violated during COVID, but still, like, let them have it. It's the Air Force.
Yeah. They have enough firepower to take out the NCAA headquarters with just a press of a button. Maybe don't screw with the Air Force.
And they're also not good.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, half of those players are probably going to be fighter pilots here pretty soon. Like, don't screw with them.
What were you going to say, Chelsea?
Just that, first of all, I mean, this also coincides with the same, report that their overall recruiting numbers, I mean, for just the grunts, like you two, we're off by, over 20,000 this month, this month alone. So, I mean, they're struggling.
Let them have it.
Just look the other way and just say, hey, our military schools just need bodies, I guess. They can have them.
Be like, no, it's fine. It's a military school. They're not really going to make the playoff.
Yeah.
So that was mine. Yes, comical and sad. Just let us have it. But Wes, what was yours?
For me, it's got to be the entire state of the Pac-12. I mean, earlier on one of our earlier episodes, I gave USC and UCLA a lot of shit for leaving. But you know what? Good for them. Good for getting out of the Pac-12, and I hope it dies a slow death. I mean, the refs are freaking terrible. They've been garbage for over a decade now, and they don't do anything to change it. I mean, a week ago, it was the refs skipping a down for Washington State. And that,
yeah.
They gave them 3rd and 18 after they, intentional grounding on a first down. Mm-hmm. And then they punted the next play. And then after a commercial break, they came back and they were like, actually, wait, we screwed that up. Here's another 3rd down, 3rd and 18. So they basically had 3rd and 18 twice. And
I heard that on the radio. The commentary was like, have you ever heard of a do-over?
Yeah, it was stupid. And then just like this last week, so with USC, one of the Arizona State players squirted a bottle of water in their quarterback's face after he was tackled, and then the dude laid on him, and then some guy from the sideline squirted water in his face. They didn't do anything. Oh yeah, so during the UCLA game, I don't know if you caught this, but
we won. That's all I caught.
Yeah, so UCLA got a completion, but they gave UCLA the completion and a defensive holding, 10 yards for defensive holding on top of that. No, it's one or the other. You don't add them on. What the hell? And then during the Oregon game, they called a horse collar when he dragged him down by the edge of his sleeve right here.
I saw that
one. And then
too.
Also, yeah, and then we had a player ejected for an open-handed slap to the face after the guy threw our quarterback's helmet 20 yards downfield.
He was ejected, but you can't strike. Up. That one I understand, that you can't strike the head.
Yeah, but that guy should have also gotten a penalty or ejected for throwing the quarterback's helmet. It's just terrible. And then the Pac-12 network is garbage. USC versus Oregon State was on the Pac-12 network, and no one can see it. Okay, how long have they had now to get a deal with DirecTV for Pac-12 network? And they haven't. It's terrible. Nobody can watch Pac-12 Network. Nobody wants to watch Pac-12 Network. The quality is garbage. And I'm just so sick of the Pac-12. And you know what? I hope it dies a slow, painful death. I'm sick of it. I hope we go to the Big Ten. Fuck you, Pac-12.
That was very passionate. I love it, and I want more of that. I know Chelsea wanted to get in, but it was kind of like at a moment, I think we both just backed off. And we're like, nope, let him go. Let him get it out of his system. Like, it's funny because you called out DirecTV, and I'm going to let you go, Chelsea, but it was the calling out DirecTV made me laugh for Pac-12 Network when their biggest property shut down completely, like 2 weeks in a row. The Sunday Ticket didn't work for like 2 weeks in a row. So sorry, Chelsea, go ahead. But you're so passionate about Pac-12.
Nobody has DirecTV. Like, come on. But no, I definitely agree with my brother. That being said, I mean, I guess what made me sad is, I mean, it's a little bit more serious than, just what's going on with the Pac-12, but it does have to do with thanks, everyone's still laughing. It's going to throw me out there. But
I'm sorry.
It is how we treat our players. And I mean, the obvious story here is Tua and following concussion protocols. And yes, there are going to be some changes made, but I think that at the same time, we also really need to be cognizant of like all of the pressures and that are built into these systems and these teams. And it kind of goes across the board and just outside of these sports where, you just see these power structures in place that are pushing players who they are paying to do things that they should not be subjected to, whether that's, physical, they're out on the field after an injury when they should not be there, whether it's, sexual harassment, like we're seeing, coming out of U.S. women's soccer. There's just so many things that are happening all at the same time. But I mean, it's particularly sad when you see the videos of the Sunday afternoon game and then the Thursday night game of to just being in a game that he should have had no business being in. And yes, they fired the guy. Yes, they're going to review concussion protocols, but the fact of the matter is that doesn't change what has already happened to his brain. There is no taking that step back. Once these injuries start happening, and it doesn't even have to be a concussion, a full concussion, to actually start impacting your brain function. There are what they call subconcussive events that actually start to just basically cause areas of like where you do lose the neural activity in there, and you only see it much later. In fact, like there are maybe some ways to diagnose CTE that they're looking at different proteins, but as of right now, the only definitive way to actually diagnose CTE is by looking at a dead brain. And the NFL had a study where they actually did send players' brains, like the families donated their brains, and they were reviewed. Of the 111 brains that were surveyed and were like re-autopsied, 110 of those players had CTE. The way that we are treating these athletes, it doesn't matter if we're changing the concussion protocols. Football is a dangerous game. These events, one after another, of just hitting your head into someone, there's nothing to change it. It adds up. And then you see people doing really crazy things like, and this is going to be a really rough segue, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Like, just... who knows exactly what neurofunction he's lost somewhere that, maybe like regulates inhibition, but it is gone because he's out there just waving his junk around in the pool at a hotel. Yeah. Who knows what we're going to see? Like, if we look at that brain in, 40 years.
I'm being reckless. So reckless speculation, I think, and I want to close this loop. For those of you that don't know what CT is, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. He has it, and that's reckless speculation. But I think he does. He's he's acting out of his mind in many situations, and even players can't get through to him. There's a couple things I want to tie up that you were talking about. I want to make sure we get back to it. Tua Tagovailoa, he clearly had a brain injury in the game where he probably had his second best game when he came back against the Bills, but he shouldn't have been out there was the main thing. And that gets me to the neurologists that were examining Tua's catatonic state that he went into when he fell down and his muscles froze up. Yeah, and they were talking about what that's a symptom of when it comes to brain injury. So I was reading a lot of that, and it was very interesting. But I want to use that to also say, look, yes, they fired the doctor, and that is a step. But, I mean, it's not – I can't just blame them. So, I don't know if you guys play gladiator sport.
Sorry, I was going to say part of the problem with this is that their neurotrauma specialist is not actually the one who actually makes the decisions. They put in the recommendations. They can be overridden by the team doctor at any time. And the team doctor is on the Dolphins' payroll. There are conflicts of interest all over the place.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you, we can override it, though, and that's what I was getting at as players as well. You could say, no, I can't go. Look at Kawhi Leonard. Look at Adrian Peterson did it for a while when he was in. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys did any of these, boxing, wrestling, football. You got to save us from ourselves because it's in our DNA. And yes, you might be right. It could be, ingrained, or we could be indoctrinated to think like this, but I think it takes a special person to go out there and put your whole body. I just love the game is why I played. And yes, the hitting aspect was one. Yeah, I liked it. It's organized violence. I get to go out there and I get to just, anything that's inside me, I'm allowed to take it out on whoever's across from me, and I can't be arrested. I'm not fighting anybody. The other person signed up to take this ass whooping as well. And I don't feel guilty, but at the same time, I'll risk everything and my whole body. And that's the only way I can put it. I can't. Who was it? Jamal Adams, your guys' safety. His quote as a rookie was, "I'd rather die out on that field." And everybody's, you're being dramatic or hyperbolic. No, that's honestly in the moment, when we're out there, you have to think that way. Because if you don't, if you're scared in any way, look at the Tua documentary the Manti Te'o documentary that we talked about. Any hesitation, any fear, you lost it. You don't have an edge. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't. You cannot physically go out there and be hit by people that are twice your size or hit people that are twice your size. Throw your body in their way without. We're not right out there. I'll be honest. We're not right out there. We're not in that moment. We're not thinking about the consequences of our actions. We're thinking about our actions and how we need to make, if we don't step in front of that right guard who's twice our size, then our linebacker can't fade past him, get to the running back and make the tackle. So I didn't do my job because I was scared. That's it, and that's how we think, right? And Tua is probably in the same boat where he's got to save himself from himself, and the doctors have to save him from himself, because in his mind, if he feels like he can throw the damn ball and take a snap, it's on him. He believes it's on him. He believes he has to be out, and it sucks. But it's the truth, and I'm not gonna just beat everyone up because it's up to them to save us from ourselves. But at some point, we have to take responsibility and be like, hey, I need to. Not only am I man enough to play this game, I need to be man enough to tell my teammates I'm not right.
Yeah,
absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. But I think that we had a couple of years where the NFL was actually where they had just, as a result of the study that was done in 2016, it was right after that. They were a lot more on the conservative side. You saw a lot of players actually being benched for a week, just in between games. There was a lot of discussion about how many people can even sit on the IR. We've really taken a step back from those days. And I don't know what the right answer is here, but you're absolutely right that there needs to be a structure around that says, if we even think that there was something off about any of the responses you had during the neurological evaluation, or just what we can actually use our eyes with to see on video, you need to be out the next week just to give yourself some rest. It needs to just be the regular thing. So that way guys don't feel like they're, being pussies, by sitting out that week, because my brain hurts, but no, it's actually a big deal. And it kind of also, you're talking about decision making, and we know that the prefrontal cortex, the one that's in charge of executive decisions and things like, cause
taking
and
all
reaction.
the impact.
Yeah. So, I mean, we know that it doesn't fully develop until about 25 to 27. So, I mean, if you're just out there getting hit over and over and over again, and your brain is sliding and just not allowing that area to develop, I mean, are you ever going to know the consequences of your actions? I think it's a lot to ask for these guys to have to make that decision themselves without it being the norm. Like, you take a big hit, you're out the next week. And whether we need to expand NFL rosters, whether we need to have some minor leagues that they can pull up, guaranteed salary. There's like a whole lot of things that we can do to change the actual infrastructure of the game to give guys like some space between these events, because otherwise it's really hard for me to watch. It's hard for me to leave the TV on again.
But it would go a long way. Yeah, and what you're saying would go a long way, because I think Wes is one of the advantages that Wes definitely has over me running is he's smarter than me, and I'll admit it. Like, he's more intelligent about this stuff than I am. Like, when he gets hurt, he says he's hurt, and he takes the time needed to repair his body properly. When I say I'm hurt, I say, give me an hour. And then I go hang out like a stupid idiot, and I try to do it again. Wes trains properly. Like, I will be in pain, or I won't look at how to run properly. Like, he listens to, like, and here's the thing, like, it's built different. He took it on as a fully formed adult and makes intelligent decisions. I still take things on, to your point, Chelsea. Like I'm 18 years old and I could still just push through everything and still be a great athlete just by, and
we're in our 30s now, bro.
Yeah. And
look after our body.
He's an engineer for a reason.
Be good to yourself.
Completely immature when it comes to these things. I was always like a distance endurance athlete. So I'm always just like, no, we'll keep going. I have rheumatoid arthritis now. Like, not from my, from my, athlete days or anything like that. But now I'm just like, I'll just push through it. And the next morning I'm like, just not able to move the next day. So, I mean, my brother's smarter than me, apparently. So,
I mean, so the other weekend I was doing, an endurance event, and I was trying to get 26 miles during a Tough Mudder. And I quit at 18 miles because I finished my second lap, and then I started to run my third lap, and I was like, I can't do it. I was like, my knee is not cooperating with me. So, and it sucked because that's not the goal that I had in mind. But I mean, you just got to listen to your body.
See, that's when I'd be just crawling on my elbows and being like, okay, we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it.
Yeah, that's the same. You know who should have not listened to his body? Antonio Brown, like Chelsea talked about. So I don't want to get too far from that before we come back. He should have just, not listened to the boner. He should have just shut that part of his brain off. Okay,
so I have a quote here. So someone from some reporter asked him about the incident, and he replied, he texted the reporter, "Do what you got to do, pussy. You white boy's dead already."
What does that mean, even though?
I don't know. But to him, it means something.
I don't know what it means. I can't. I mean, I know what he was doing in the pool. Hey. And also, what part of him thinks he's eventually going to get a girl this way? Because this is the third woman he's sexually harassed or assaulted by showing his penis. First, it was the person painting the mural in his house with the washcloth over it, where he walks out of his room in just a washcloth over his penis. This is all the towel I need. And then he it was someone else. There was another one in between this one that he just walked. He was just his housekeeper. He was walking around in front of his housekeeper just naked, just naked, because that's okay to walk around your housekeeper naked. And then now he's jerking off in a pool in Europe. I don't, Chelsea, you're our resident panelist.
He's like those guys that are on online dating or whatever who just send out dick pics to everyone, except he's doing it in real life.
Yeah, IRL dick pics are not a thing. That is just disgusting.
Tell that to Antonio Brown.
Men, women don't like your dicks as it is. I'm just going to be real with you. It's just something they don't like the look of it. It's not something that they're like, well, now you're attractive. But go ahead, Chelsea.
It's not aesthetically pleasing, and it's also just I don't know. It just, we're sitting here talking about brain injuries. It does seem like he's got like a progression of, activity that's happening here.
Mhm.
And I don't know, maybe he needs like a buddy, just a platonic buddy to just.
He needs a friend.
Right? Like he's jerking off in the pool and a buddy is just like, no, buddy, we don't do that in public. There was a towel over.
I mean, he had a friend in Tom Brady, and then he ruined that, and now he's posting pictures of Gisele Bündchen on his Instagram. So I don't think he wants friends.
I think he had a friend in Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin shielded him from himself quite a bit. I personally think Mike Tomlin is a great head coach. I think he's fantastic. I think he's an example to why we need to hire diversity. He's great. And he gave him an extended leash. And, maybe you're right, Chelsea. Maybe there's a pattern of bad behavior. But also, I mean, maybe he was always like this, and the Steelers and Mike Tomlin were protecting him from himself. Maybe they knew this was who he was, and they were trying to keep him out of trouble. I do, however, love that Mike Tomlin did troll Antonio Brown. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No.
He did the TikTok dance or the Instagram dance on Instagram Live in the locker room, and that's a story. A lot of people probably forgot about it, but there's a moment where he yelled at Antonio Brown for being on Instagram Live in the locker room because he wasn't supposed to be showing pictures of the locker room. So it was kind of a troll. It was a sly troll. Yeah, I don't know. He's like Kyrie Irving, and I know we're going to get to that later, hopefully, maybe. But I'm just done with him. I don't know what to do. I don't know if he can be helped. I mean, yeah, perhaps it's something to do with CTE. I don't know where to go from here with him. It's a pattern. You're just a terrible dude, I think. You might, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you also might just be terrible.
I mean, it's possible.
Straight jacket.
Yeah, but speaking of terrible.
Padded room.
Wes, what's going on with Baker Mayfield? Is he done? Is it over?
Oh man, I don't know. I gave Baker Mayfield the benefit of the doubt at the beginning of the season, but he's just not doing that well with the Panthers. Like I was kind of rooting for him, but
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, yeah, you have to give him till the end of the season, but I mean, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
So career backup?
Yeah, career backup, I think.
Do you take him over Geno still or no? What do you think? Well, actually, Chelsea, do you take him over Geno?
No.
No.
And no from Wes. Like, you didn't even wait for me to get to you, Wes. You're like, nope. That's crazy.
Geno was fired this weekend. I mean, he was great. I mean, the Seahawks put up 48 points. Like, where did that come from?
Against 45 points, which was a scoregami.
Yeah, the scoregami. It was that was amazing. And Chelsea and I talked about it during the pre-show meeting for the fans. We were kind of like shocked, like 48-45 is a scoregami. That feels like that should have happened.
Well, I feel like it's probably just a scoregami for the NFL because it's such a high score, but it's probably happened like thousands of times in college.
Yeah. So scoregami is only for the NFL, and it's only scores that haven't happened before. But if you look at the Twitter account, actually, they have like the odds and the percentages and the like likelihood of a game going to a scoregami. And it is just really interesting how they calculate it out and what all the different odds are. Because I mean, they do it like it's just automated at this point. But I always find it fascinating when they're like, "Oh, this game has like a 0.002 chance of going into scoregami," and then all of a sudden, like, just things happen. Like people
You're a
miss
numbers
like the
person.
extra point. I love it. I'm such a nerd. But people mix the extra point, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this game has like a 22% chance of going to scoregami, and then you get closer, and it's just like, yay! I don't know why. The novelty concept is just, I think it's just fascinating that this game's been played for so long, and that there are still scores that just haven't existed in the NFL.
Both of you are numbers people when it comes to math and odd math. Odd ways math works out in different things. One thing, is a bit off topic, but one thing I remember about Wes when we were in the dorms is Wes was really stupid when he was drunk, okay? He was dumb. He did dumb shit. But
yes.
But if you
I'm still stupid when I'm drunk.
But if you ask him a math problem, he could do it. and it was weird, and I would do it. Like, how do you know that? How
It's
do
like
you
a
not
little
know how to
party
tie your-
trick.
Yeah. How do you not know how to tie your shoes right now? But you know what the square root of 10,787 is? Like, what the hell is going on? Like, how is that possible? As far as Baker's concerned, yeah, it's weird. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I think he's a backup here now. I'm sad about it. I mean, his only chance is if he shows some improved accuracy, I think, towards the end of the season, and he could try one more time with a good offensive coach, because like a Drew Brees, pardon me, is where I was going with that. Because right now it doesn't look good. He gets passes batted down at a higher rate than any other quarterback in the NFL, and height's not an excuse because he was playing against Kyler, who's shorter than him, I believe. So I'm not going to accept height as an excuse. He doesn't know how to get his lanes properly, or his passing lines properly, and he doesn't either drop back far enough, or he's not reading his progressions well enough, or he's not reading the defense well enough, which is saying something because Kyler Murray doesn't even study. Speaking of Kyler Murray, I think you sent us this, Chelsea, the J.J. Watt thing. That was a different side to that dude, his heart.
That was really interesting because apparently someone did leak his private, personal medical information, but he did have to have. He went into AFib, which is just basically a heart rhythm that is not normal and can basically stop at any time. And it was shocked, and then he was into a normal sinus rhythm, and then he was allowed to go back out and play. And it is a pretty serious event when you do have these heart arrhythmias that stay, where it's not just like a moment of just like your heart kind of flutters for a minute, but because I've had that happen before. But when you actually have to shock it back into a normal rhythm, it sounds very serious, and it is more serious than just like a small event. But it's really sad that someone's personal medical information was put out there, because a lot of people do not know how to interpret this, including, I'm going to be honest, myself. And this is coming from someone whose husband went to medical school, and he and I have had a couple of, med talks this week about, just what's happening in sports. But the thing is these cardiac events, like it's either in sync and your heart's fine, or it's not. And then you shock it back to normal, and then it's fine. So if he was cleared to play by his cardiologist, then, good for him. But he probably does need to very closely monitor this, because it's something that can happen again. I think it was someone out there just really wanted to put this out during a week of other NFL medical hysteria, just to say, like, look at all these guys who have like serious problems. Clicks.
Yeah,
I agree. Go ahead, Wes. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, it's all driven by clicks.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of arrhythmia before, so that's why when we were talking about it, I wasn't super I've heard of arrhythmias, but I worked in a hospital, and I know they're treatable. And I mean, for the most part, if taken care of, he's going to be fine. I mean, I had troops that I was with that had arrhythmias, and they had to take some time off because they weren't allowed to exert themselves to a certain extent because of the arrhythmia. But it was not unheard of. But the medical records leaking, I mean, that's a serious issue in sports. I don't know how to patrol that or control that, because it's got to be getting leaked from somewhere. The reporter's not just, it's not James Bond where he's like, do, sneaking into a medical records room, and he's like spawning through the medical records as fast as he can. Yeah, it's somebody literally
that's supposed to be trusted, like a medical professional that's supposed to be trusted with these medical records, and is a severe violation of HIPAA.
It's not fair, but it's also not fair to us, and this is for college football, that we didn't get to watch Greg Schiano and Ryan Day throw down. I was very upset about that. That made me very mad, because one, I think Ryan Day's annoying. Yeah, I said it. I don't like Ryan Day.
Get his ass kicked by Greg Schiano.
I think so too. And all we got was them pointing and yelling at each other, which is all we ever get. They never fight. But I'm kind of like, I'm sitting back here, and Wes, I know you're the same way. We're like, look, just let them go. They're not going to fight each other. Fight. They won't. They're just going to stand there and yell at each other. Just don't separate them. Just let them. Maybe they'll kiss. Who knows? But you don't know.
Maybe they get way up in each other's faces, like in pro wrestling. Just get nose to nose.
Wasn't that a Key and Peele sketch where they get right up to each other? They're like, no, you move, brother. No, you move, and they're like in each other's faces, like almost kissing each other. It's like, and that's all it would be. That's all it would be. There would be no fists thrown, punches. So they're like in their 50s and 60s. They're not gonna punch each other. Like, but it just, I was like, just let us have this. Let's see what happens. Because one, Greg Schiano has done some pretty terrible things, and not the worst things ever, but stuff like the way he's treated players in the past. The way that Ryan Day has recruiting violations, and he went to bat for I think the coach's name was Smith when he was abusing his wife. He said he wasn't a bad guy, along with Urban Meyer. Remember that when that was happened with the Ohio State wide receiver coach? Yeah,
I remember that.
Ryan Day came out and said he's not a bad guy, he just needs help or something like that. I'm like, no, he's a bad guy. He beats his wife. Like he's a bad person. Just say he's a bad person. Yeah. Like screw that relationship. Say that's a bad person. He abuses women. That's okay. I think that's acceptable. You can say that about people that abuse women. Like that's a bad person. So I was kind of like, you know what? I don't like either of these guys, but I do want to see them fight. What did you guys think? I mean, I know I'm being a tad sarcastic, a tad facetious, but a tad honest as well. What did you guys think of the scene?
Who was the coach? There was a coach that was suspended for getting in a fight. I can't remember. Like it's slipping my brain. Was it basketball?
I can't remember. I know. Well, if it's basketball, I know. Oh gosh. Now that you said that, my mind is gone. But Latrell, PJ Carlissimo got choked by Latrell Sprewell. I know that happened.
Oh, yep, I remember that.
It's gonna bug me. I can't think of it right now.
I can't think of a coach. I remember Jeff Van Gundy was getting drugged by Alonzo Mourning across the floor when the Knicks played the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. And there's a big fight that broke out, and Jeff Van Gundy was holding on to Alonzo Mourning's legs as Alonzo Mourning just ran with him across like a little baby. I know that happened. I saw that one. But no, I can't think of a coach that was suspended for fighting. I apologize, Wes. I don't recall that. And it looks like Wes is looking it up.
Oh, so was it Michigan's coach? It was
Jim Harbaugh? No,
Juwan Howard.
No, he was suspended, but wasn't fighting, was it? It was like he slapped someone?
Yeah, so Howard said he became angry after he felt Wisconsin's coach made unnecessary contact by grabbing his arm, and then like a brawl broke out. Oh, yeah. So Juwan Howard hit the Wisconsin assistant coach.
Yeah. He slapped him, right?
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, he slapped him.
Yeah, not condoning assault. But he slapped him.
Yeah, they got all up in each other's faces.
Juwan
Howard put like a fucking finger
what year?
in his face.
Last year.
This was this was earlier this year. It was in February. Yeah, he straight up slapped the coach.
Yeah,
he slapped there was a bunch of players in his way, and then he just reached over like between his players and slapped the coach.
Yeah. I remember now. Once you said Juwan Howard, I was like, oh, yeah, I think he slapped the guy. That's right.
Yeah. No, I sincerely do not remember this, but, like, I can't even remember.
I mean, how awesome would it have been if we saw, like, Ryan Day get slapped?
Yeah, that one I want to see. Juwan Howard's a different animal. That man could probably throw down, okay? He's like 6'7". He's a real athlete. He's a real athlete.
He's in his 40s, yeah.
Yeah, he's a real athlete that actually played in the NBA, like, that might not go well. But Ryan Day, Greg Schiano, and if one of them does get beat up,
good.
I don't know if I care too much, but I would be on here like, hey, don't fight people. But in my head, I'd be like, you know what, that was good.
That was fun.
One of them deserved it.
It's like the goalie fights in NHL when you see the goalies go at it, like Patrick Waugh versus Dominic Hasek back in the day.
And Patrick was like one of the most calm dudes too, and then he fought someone, which was shocking because he's like
because usually during a fight you just like see the goalies just like kind of like lay back on the net and they're like all right, you guys go at it. I'm just gonna sit here and drink my Gatorade.
He went all in, and at this point, I think the Eagles are going all in, but I can't decide if I like the Eagles or not when it comes to the NFL. I can't. I don't know. What do you think, Chelsea?
They're the only undefeated team in the NFL right now.
But that doesn't mean anything.
After 4 weeks, which is crazy because usually there's like 5 or 6 teams.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think it means anything. What were we going to say, Chelsea?
I think that this season is shaping up to be like a free for all. Where just you don't know right now. Heading into week 5, how anything is going to shake out. I mean, like Tampa Bay just lost. Like poor Tom Brady. But there's also this very specific feeling of like looking at the Eagles and just going like, huh. Okay.
I mean, they beat the Jaguars, the Commanders, the Vikings, and the Lions. 3 of those teams are absolute trash. So
yeah. I feel so bad for the Commanders. Like, can I just for the Washington football team? Like,
so I'm here in DC right now, and some lady. We were at the bar or whatever, and some lady was like, "Put on the Redskins game," and I was like, "It's the Commanders now, or Washington football team, whatever you
say
want."
That?
Yeah,
did you say
I was hammered at this point, but I was like, "It's not the Redskins anymore."
You probably upset that lady so badly. Like,
was it a white lady?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna use slurs. For me, when it comes to the sadness, and I want to get back to the Eagles because I think they deserve to be at least talked about. They are the only undefeated team, like you said, Wes. But the Lions is a team I feel terrible for because they're the highest scoring team in the NFL, and they're 1-3.
That is true.
They are?
Yeah, they're the highest scoring team in the NFL.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah,
they scored 24 against the Vikings, 36 against the Commanders, 45 against the Hawks, and then 35 against the Eagles. That's crazy.
So their points scored is 140. Their points allowed is 141 for the whole season.
So I feel bad for the Lions because I feel like that's like the worst break you can catch is every game you're losing by a score or on a last minute drive, and there's nothing you could do about it. There's nothing you could do. It's just the fates have. You know what you could do about it? Not be the Detroit Lions. Defense. No, you're not allowed to be the Detroit Lions. That's what you could do about it because that's so Detroit Lions to be like the best offense in all of football and be 1-3 or the best scoring team.
Well, the Eagles have Cardinals up next, so that'll be a good litmus test. Yeah,
I think so, and it'll be fun to watch those 2 quarterbacks just scramble all over the place. Like, I mean, I don't like it when it happened against the Raiders with Kyler Murray running all over the field, but that'll be a fun game, I think. And I don't know. I know the Eagles have weapons all over the field. I know their defense is nice. I think on paper, I'd probably give them like an 85 average team. If I was like, say, the overall team grade, I'd probably give it about an 85, and their weakness, oddly enough, is quarterback, right? But he's a fantasy superstar because he runs, he scores touchdowns, he passes, but I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all. I feel like he's going to lose me a game. Go ahead, Chelsea. Sorry, you made eye movements a lot that made me think you had something you were going to say.
Oh, no, I'm just looking at the schedule and stuff over here. But like I said, I think that there's going to be a couple games that, they'll lose just because this is kind of just one of those seasons where everybody's just picking on each other. Like, if you just look actually at the standings, like almost everyone is 2-2 right now.
Yeah.
No one's having a good time.
3-1, 1-3.
3 wins, but
I mean, there's not a team that's lost every game. I mean, even the Houston Texans managed to tie a game so far, and they have the worst record.
Your entire division 2-2, which I think is the second best division now. I didn't think it was going to be the second best division. I thought the Seahawks were just going to lose everything. I did. I legitimately thought that. I was like, they lost their defense. They lost a lot of their offense except for their 2 wide receivers, and they're 2-2.
Yeah,
and I don't understand it.
Along with everyone else.
And the Rams got their asses kicked last night. What's up?
Yeah, the Rams got beat up by the 49ers, by the Jimmy Garoppolos that Wes called. I'll just remind people of that. Wes said Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start. And Troy Aikman last night on the SVP show, so I can give credit where credit is due, on SVP's postgame show, literally just said, I don't like Trey Lance. I think he's a bad quarterback. He goes, I've always liked Jimmy Garoppolo more. Frankly, I don't know what the 49ers were thinking. And I'm like, oh, my God. Usually these guys don't say anything. He's firing shots left and right.
Yeah, they're usually pretty neutral. They're just like, okay, we'll just, go with, whatever is happening and just kind of discuss it unless there's obviously a situation. But that is funny that he just was like, nah, don't like him.
I don't like it. I don't like Trey Lance. Frankly, I don't know what the 49ers were thinking. All Jimmy Garoppolo does is win, and I'm like, he's just going in. Well, outside of that, the last thing NFL-wise is I hope that the Browns lose that way till the end of time. I truly do. I hope they lose by 3 points to the Atlanta Falcons and the New York Jets forever, as long as football goes on.
I mean, I will take Mariota winning as many games as I can.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The Oregon God, he'll get a statue someday in Oregon, I think.
He will.
It's coming. Actually, Oregon renamed their Alumni Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame area to the Mariota Center.
I believe it. I mean, I believe it was going to happen. It happens. I know you guys are both of you are probably happy that Cristobal looks like trash in his first year. And they're already calling him out. They're already mad at Cristobal. And now, something came out in the Miami, what's it called? Oh, gosh, I can't remember. Herald, in the Miami Herald, about now they've dug up, how did you have one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football and never make it to a playoff in regards to Justin Herbert? And how did he only throw for his most yardage was about 3,500 yards at Oregon? How is this possible? What did you do to screw this up?
Yeah, because he's literally one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now.
Yeah. And Miami fans
I
feel
didn't see this coming.
Yeah, Miami fans feel
we all saw it in college too.
Yeah,
we all saw it at the college level, and we're kind of where are the other pieces around him? But yeah.
And he's a giant in college. I didn't see it coming, to be honest. I knew he was good, but I didn't think he was going to be as good just because of the offense they ran at Oregon. I didn't think it would translate, that Oregon offense that Mario was running. Yeah, it was pro style, but it was all underneath. He very rarely let him let it rip, which is why he was always under 4,000. I still don't think C.J. Stroud's going to be good, but that's another story for another day. Mariota, yes, I love to see him win. I want to rapid fire some things really quick, if that's okay with you guys.
Sure.
Shout out to in a bad way. Shout out in a bad way to National Women's Soccer League. I'm glad now that we know what was happening, but I'm pissed off that you're just going to use a lot of excuses as to why you're allowed to treat people, women in particular, like trash. Go ahead, Chelsea.
I'm just really, really happy that Sally Yates is just in there exposing everything and everyone and using very plain language to make it clear that what happened isn't women being emotional or overly sensitive, that it actually is a systemic abuse that is ingrained in the power structure of women's soccer that starts at the youth level, that there is no way to eradicate this and to root it out without actually going all the way down into the, I don't even want to know how far down it goes, but the report is long. It is absolutely crystal clear. It plainly reports some of the incidents that happened, including a woman walking into a coach's office who had requested her to come in to look at film. And that film turned out to just be straight up porn. That is sexual harassment and is totally not okay for anybody. It's not okay to do it to two bros do it to each other as a joke. It's not okay to
Wes,
a woman to a man. It's not it's not even funny. It's it just makes you have this really gross feeling of holy shit, this is so serious that a woman who should have been considered for Attorney General of the United States, the office that Merrick Garland holds now, is looking into this and investigating it and releasing these reports. And that's how serious we should be taking it. But unfortunately, as we know, there is a good chance that a lot of this will still just be squared with, not a big deal. It's just the women's leagues. We aren't paying them money. We don't really care. Really care about it. A lot of people love to turn a blind eye to this kind of stuff and still keep putting their children into these leagues, into these institutions, and getting them started at the children's age, same as we see with gymnastics and
I was going to say, I don't,
and all sorts of other sports. So
I don't think it's just that we turn the blind eye on that one. I think it's also that we're next culture at this point. We're like, what's next? And we see all this stuff and we just move on. And really quick, I want to hit the thoughts and whatever you believe in, whatever you want to do for the people in Indonesia, the soccer fans that died trying to watch a game they love. I think that sucks. I think both fans and facilitators and security need to do a better job, because I don't think nobody should die trying to go watch a sporting event. Like, that should never. Go ahead, Wes. Sorry.
No, I mean, unless you're like a drunken idiot and you fall off of a railing. But
even that poor drunken idiot didn't deserve to die.
I mean, yeah,
but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like,
I mean, that was your own fault. Like, he didn't get trampled like they did in Indonesia. Like, that just shouldn't happen. There's no excuse for that.
And it shouldn't happen like it happened at the Dodgers game with the San Francisco Giants fan that was almost beat to death, but now he can't even function like the firefighter that can't even function like a normal human being anymore. The Raiders fan that was shot in the chest outside of the 49ers game. Like, none of this stuff should be happening. We should be allowed to go to the hooliganism in soccer in Europe. Like, stop. Enough. It's 2022. Like, we should be allowed to go to games and josh each other and razz each other about the teams and then walk out and have a drink and be like, yeah, you got us this time. Next time, though, there's always another damn season until you kill someone. And that person doesn't get another season. Exactly. Funny stuff. You guys have a terrible mascot.
Don't get me started on Bowie. It's a troll.
Don't throw me in there. One, I don't even like hockey, and two, like, no.
So I feel like they try to go the way of the Flyers, where they make like some silly goofy costume. Yeah, with Gritty. But the thing is, Gritty was just like unique, and like he's actually hilarious. But this is just like, he looks like a really ugly troll doll that just got like thrown and rubbed in some dirt, and it's just not.
Well,
no.
So the thing is like, if you're from Seattle, or if you've visited, then you probably know the Fremont Troll, which is this really horrendous, creepy sculpture thing that's under a bridge.
Yeah.
In this kind of like hippy dippy area of Seattle, and the whole thing was that this troll is Bowie's uncle, and they just tried so hard, and this thing gives me legitimate nightmares. Like, it just creeps me out. Because I did grow up during the age of like troll dolls and stuff like that, and I always felt like they were gonna come alive. Like, so to see like this little thing just like peeking around a corner and going like hello, which is how he introduced himself on Twitter, I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Since Chelsea said that, shout out to Gorp this week. If you haven't watched it yet, go back, watch it. It's an episode being advertised on this episode. We talk about toys, and I think troll dolls come up. I don't know. I don't remember. Go back and listen to us. Outside of that, like, we appreciate you, all of you that come and listen to us, all of you that share our videos and help us grow our audience. That being said, you can reach me at The Sad Fan on Twitter. The Sad Fan 12. You can reach, yes, there's the video, the intro video, letting you know, hi, I'm here. And you can reach all of us here. Can you credit that? Who released that? Because it's going to be on the pod.
It's at SEA Bowie.
Okay. I just want to make sure we got credit Twitter.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's Bowie's official Twitter, which should probably remain anonymous because no one should have to view that nightmare of a Twitter feed.
But because of our affiliates, and one of them is Apple Podcasts, they ask that we cite everyone that's not our original opinion. No, I like it. Keep it coming. Just bring it. Just cite it. That's all I'm saying. Just cite it if you say what it is. But yeah, you can reach us at the Sad Fan Media Group, or Sad Fan Media, at the Sad Fan Media on YouTube. You can reach the whole show at the Sad Fan Pod on Twitter. So please check us out. Come back and see us. They don't have social media yet, so I have to tell them what you say. So leave direct comments to them in the comments so I can tell them what you guys say. Thanks so much, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.